Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from Reality Art Pod. I'm here to talk about the challenge season 39, episode 11, My Own Worst Frenemy. You'll notice I'm posting this recap a lot earlier than usual. It helps that this was one of the only shows that were airing this week. Before I get into it, as always, I put a link in the subject so you can catch up on recaps you may have missed. I'm in it with you for the long haul this season, so if you like my recaps, don't forget to subscribe. But let's get into it. They get back to the house. Kylan just beat Darrell in elimination, and TJ just told them that he's sending them right into their next challenge. Coming into this, I thought they were going straight to the challenge, but then lightning strikes the house as they're all back in the house eating dinner. I get that they have to change, but they're eating and putting on makeup. There doesn't seem to be much urgency to send them to this challenge. They finally go outside and see skulls, dead baby heads, bloody dream catchers. Olivia says, "Excuse me, like, who died here? I got a blast." Emmanuel says the set reminds him of his grandma's house. They'll be playing Banquet of Champions in 4 teams of 4. It was kind of sick of them to make them eat dinner right before this. In this challenge, each team will have 4 locked dinner boxes on their table, and they'll be answering trivia questions to bring back crates with numbers on them. The numbers will make a combination to unlock the dinner boxes. The rules to this were confusing, but basically if they get trivia questions wrong, they're slightly inconvenienced. The teams are Corey, James, Mariah, Colleen, Emmanuel, Horacio, Zara, Berna, Olivia, Raven, Jay, and Asif, and Michelle, Nerys, Ed, and Kyland. So the challenge starts and they dart off into the dark. Mariah reflects with photos about her mom working hard to take care of her. She wants to use the money to get her mom and her grandma houses on the same street. Mariah is really going to buy a whole residential block with her $300K. The trivia portion of this is pretty uninteresting and boring. A producer laughs at Mariah in confessional for not knowing who Lewis Hamilton is. I also don't know who that is. Producer, are you going to laugh at me? The things they have to eat are colon stew, brain soup, spicy drink, pig snouts. They start eating at various times and throwing up as usual. Team J gets all of their questions wrong, so they're the last to the station. The eating portion, as usual, is actually really gross. They're all throwing up and TJ thinks it's hilarious. Mariah, Corey, James, and Colleen win the challenge and they all have to nominate one woman into the elimination. They end up deciding on Raven, with Corey pushing her name because they have beef. The rest of the house have to go back to the house and nominate another woman for elimination. On the way out, Raven reminds Corey that he's so flip-floppy, and he says, blah, 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 shut the fuck up. The next day, Zara is pissed at Raven, feeling like Raven threw her under the bus, and there's a cute scene of Horacio teaching Nerys some soccer tricks. There's some strategizing around the house. Horacio tells Kyland he doesn't want to target Zara. Kyland points out that Michelle feels like she's running the game. Elsewhere, Asif wants to protect Berna and target Zara. At night, they're having an ABC or anything but clothes party, and did they make these outfits themselves? Because everyone looks great, and this is the best part of the episode for me. There's booty shaking, spanking, nudity. They do a step and repeat. Mariah, James, and Zara have the best costume, and Nerys and Horacio kiss, which they claim is their first kiss, allegedly. Then they start having very serious conversations for a bunch of naked people. Michelle is hoping Laurel isn't the mercenary because she voted her in Ride or Dies, and Laurel wants Michelle's head on a stick. Zara and Raven talk, and they have a pretty civil conversation, which ends up with them forming a Final 2 alliance. Michelle starts crying. She says she has a feeling Laurel is coming, and it seems like maybe Michelle was tipped off by production's questions in the confessional because she's convinced that this is happening. And then lightning strikes, and we hear Laurel's laugh. Nerys gets upset that Horacio is going to be busy after the show. Of course, he's Mr. Hot Stuff right now. He's going to be busy, Nerys. She says that she's falling in love with him and cries like she's been rejected. This is just regular drunk crying. I've been there, Nerys. Nerys and Horacio eventually end up in bed together, and Berna comes in saying, "Don't do it where we sleep. I don't want to listen to..." Then she goes to ruin Emmanuel and Raven's hookup, saying, no, 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 he has a girlfriend. And Nerys comes to Raven saying she wants to slap the F out of Berna. The next day, Olivia expresses disappointment in Horacio for not working with her in the game, wondering at this point if they're still ride or dies or even friends, which is sad as a viewer. At the deliberation, Zara steps up and nominates herself for elimination. She would have been voted in anyway, but I'm glad they didn't waste our time with the votes. So we get to the elimination and TJ brings in Laurel, the mercenary, who looks great as always. Michelle is terrified. She's shaking in her boots. Before the draw, Laurel even points out that she wants to go against Michelle. Laurel ends up pulling Raven's name, which is anticlimactic. They'll be playing chain reaction and they need to pull a chain through a pyramid to get a code, which will unlock their color sequence. Basically, their chains have colors on them and they need to repeat the color sequence with pegs on a board in front of them. Because it's really a memory challenge, this is a pretty fair matchup that anyone could win because it's all about focus, and I'm surprised that they didn't give Laurel something more physical. For the record, I think Michelle would have won this. Michelle is very smart and great under pressure, pressure, and Laurel just doesn't have that attention to detail. Thinking of when she missed the peg in the elimination against Ninja that she would have won. So the elimination starts, Laurel is moving faster with the chains, but Raven is trying to focus more on laying out her chains neatly. Laurel finishes first and gets it wrong and gets frustrated. The crowd is helping Raven to check her answers, and Michelle bosses Raven around a little and demands that she checks it. Raven ends up beating Laurel in the elimination, which is a great win for Raven, if anything solidifying that she'll definitely get invited back to the show. So I have to anticlimactically wrap up another episode. I like to end my recaps with an obituary for the eliminated player, but we haven't had that this week or last week. I always say this, but I hate non-elimination episodes. It's such a waste of time, especially extending the episodes to an hour and a half. During the holidays, with all this inflation, I want my money back, because time is money. I do think there was a lot of content that drove the overall story, but overall, I'm feeling like the season would be better just to watch more on a binge. Like these last two non-elimination episodes, I don't think anyone needed to run to their TV during the holidays to get to them. My fear is that we have 3 more Mercenaries coming, so are we going to have 3 more potential non-elimination episodes? I really think the ratings are so bad for this, they should just dump this season on Paramount Plus right now. But hey, I'll be back next week to talk about another episode of the Challenge 39. If you like the content, subscribe. But until then, I'll be back next Wednesday. Have a nice weekend. Bye!